Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. It's 8:29 on the East Coast. It's 5:29 bright and early on a Saturday morning out west. I'm Keith Landry. We're bringing you all the breaking news stories and headlines today for the next few hours here. And right now we are going to take a live look in Israel. This is the Gaza Strip. And that camera shot's breaking up just a little bit, but this is a tent city in the Gaza Strip. And we can tell you, I'm going to switch the angle for you to give you a better shot here, but that is a tent camp in the Gaza Strip, and we are going to give you a different shot to look at. Okay, that is also in the Gaza Strip, a live look. Bringing you the latest from overnight. Israeli forces have shelled some tent camps for displaced Palestinians outside Gaza's southern city of Rafah, killing at least 25 people and wounding another 50. Now, that's according to the territory's health officials and emergency officials there. So we have 25 dead. We have 50 wounded overnight in that attack. This was the latest deadly attack in the Gaza Strip, where hundreds of thousands have fled the fighting between Israel and Hamas. And it comes less than a month after an Israeli bombing triggered a deadly fire that tore through a camp for displaced Palestinians in southern Gaza. And that incident really did draw widespread international outrage, including from some of Israel's closest allies, over the military's expanding offensive in Rafah. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu says they have to kill the last battalions of Hamas in Rafah in order to complete the war, which is almost 9 months old now. So this latest incident overnight, 25 dead, 50 wounded. Witnesses whose relatives died in the bombardments near a Red Cross field hospital north of Rafah say the Israeli forces fired a second volley that killed people who came out of their tents. Now, we'll be just watching closely to hear how Israel responds to this when we hear more from them. The International Committee of the Red Cross says the hospital was flooded with casualties, 22 dead, 45 wounded, and condemning the firing of high-caliber projectiles just meters from that hospital. Now, the locations of these attacks provided by the Civil Defense and the Red Cross appear to be just outside an Israeli-designated safe zone along the Mediterranean coast known as Mawasi. The Israeli military said the episode was under review, but there is no indication that a strike was carried out by the IDF inside the so-called safe zone. So right now, let's take you to Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan, who has more on this story for us about the split that's developing between Benjamin Netanyahu and the United States. Let's look at that.
Is now doubling down on his criticism of the Biden administration. And for the first time, he's now casting his policy rift with the U.S. as a personal dispute after the White House pushed back on his claims that the Pentagon is holding up arms shipments to Israel. On Thursday, Netanyahu called that a, quote, personal attack, but said he would endure it if it means Israel gets the guns and ammo. It comes as Israeli forces pounded Gaza and engaged in close quarter fighting with Hamas on Friday in what some are speculating could be a final push to complete the southern offensive.
We will not leave the Gaza Strip until we return all our hostages, both the living and the dead. We are doing this mission and also many other missions.
Netanyahu is also at odds with his own military about the best way to win the war, and a growing protest movement in Israel is demanding his resignation.
We want a new election. We want a government that works for the people, that is trying to bring the hostages back and to find a conclusion to this war.
Meanwhile, the temporary pier built by the U.S. military is now re-anchored and back in business off the coast of Gaza. But much of the aid being offloaded is not being distributed because there are no safe routes available.
Our children are hungry. Our children are all day looking for food on the streets. Our people here are starving to death.
The Pentagon says more than 1.4 million pounds of food was delivered to the pier on Thursday, but it's not clear how much of that aid made it to Gaza. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Okay, Alex Hogan reporting from London for us. And again, here is that live look. This image is frozen up a little bit, but it is a live camera in the Gaza Strip. This is one of those tent encampments where Palestinians, refugees essentially on the move, relocating from the fighting in Rafah, are living temporarily. And we will continue throughout the day to follow the situation in Israel, including what is almost a weekly expectation of protests in Tel Aviv against the way the Netanyahu government is administering the war. So we'll keep you posted on that throughout the day. Right now, we are taking our second break of the hour, 8:34 on the East Coast, 5:34 out west. I'm Keith Landry. When we come back, we'll take a look at American politics with the big presidential debate coming up this Thursday. Stay with us. We're back after a quick break. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Keith Landry. It's 8:37 on the East Coast, 5:37 out west. I hope you're off to a great start today. We are talking about election 2024, the presidential race. This is a live look at the White House right now on this Saturday morning. A beautiful morning in the nation's capital with the sun on the White House and the Washington Monument behind it. And we are all starting to think about the big debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump this Thursday night. Only two scheduled debates. This one is absolutely huge for the undecideds who don't quite know yet which way they will vote in November. So Donald Trump has two scheduled appearances today. He'll speak around 1:30 at the Faith and Freedom Coalition's Road to Majority Conference in Washington. And then he's going to hold a rally in Philadelphia at 7 p.m. this evening. And that's particularly interesting because that has traditionally been Biden territory. Joe Biden has visited Philly many, many times over the years. It's traditionally a Democratic stronghold. But Donald Trump and his campaign not at all afraid to go to the places that are traditional Democratic strongholds as he tries to peel off those votes. So it's going to be super interesting to watch how that all develops today. And Joe Biden, the president at Camp David in Maryland, he's sort of hunkered down with his aides getting ready for the debate Thursday evening. Let's take a look. Peter Ducey from Fox News has more on the preparations for the big debate Thursday evening. Let's take a look at that coming up right now.
As President Biden continues studying, former President Donald Trump appears to soften part of his immigration policy.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges, too.
That's in contrast to a bold promise to have dangerous illegal immigrants removed.
We're going to get them out as fast as we can. We're going to have the largest deportation. We have no choice. When you let in people that come out of prisons for murder, it's not going to end well.
Registered voters favor Trump over Biden on immigration by 9 points in a new Fox poll. And now Biden is being called out by the half-sister of Rachel Morin, the Maryland mother of 5 murdered allegedly by an illegal border crosser.
He stopped the building on the wall. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Biden administration has the blood of Rachel Morin on their hands.
Trump allies are urging the former president to prep some punchlines for the current president.
Do you really believe your uncle was eaten by cannibals? My advice to Trump would be deal with Biden with humor, not with anger, because Biden is pathetic.
Donald Trump himself seems to disagree.
I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater. Yeah, I would say. I think I don't want to underestimate him.
Biden's personal attorney, Bob Bauer, who played Trump in Biden's last debate prep, not giving anything up.
What do you think Biden's weakness is in debate? I can't speak to that.
The president isn't speaking to anything anytime soon either. His debate prep appears to be fully immersive, which is a different approach than Donald Trump is taking. Trump is staying out on the trail. At the White House, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Okay, Peter Ducey reporting on the preps for the debate. Meanwhile, we want to give you an update. Yesterday, there was a big hearing in South Florida on former President Donald Trump's upcoming case regarding the documents that he had taken with him from Washington, D.C. and kept at his home in South Florida. So let's take a look at that story now. Jeff Paul's going to bring us the latest on that now.
Former President Donald Trump's lawyers walking into federal court on Friday, starting what will be 3 days of pretrial hearings in Trump's classified documents case. Judge Eileen Cannon overseeing the day's arguments centered around the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith. Trump's defense says DOJ regulations don't actually allow Attorney General Merrick Garland to appoint a special counsel. Therefore, Smith's appointment is unconstitutional, and the case should be thrown out. Special counsel Smith's team told Judge Cannon their argument simply doesn't hold water.
This judge is allowing hearings where a lot of judges have simply rejected these positions on the papers. I think it's a credit to the judicial system.
Former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Kendall Coffey, says with a case this important and a former president facing 40 felony counts, more time is deserved for pretrial issues. But the motion from Trump's legal team is seen by legal analysts as a long shot, as several courts previously have rejected near identical challenges. Judge Cannon was appointed by Trump in 2020. Her critics now accuse her of trying to stall the trial ahead of November's election.
It's not at all a frivolous argument, and I think the rap on Judge Cannon is just ridiculous. This is a classified information case. They're very hard to get to trial.
After several hours of legal arguments from both sides, it's important to point out that Judge Eileen Cannon did press prosecutors about what role Attorney General Merrick Garland had in the indictment of former President Trump. Prosecutors declined to comment. The judge is expected to issue a written order in the coming days. In Fort Pierce, Florida, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it. We're taking a quick break, our third break of the hour at 8:42 on the East Coast, 5:42 out west. When we come back, the United Nations Security General will talk to us about the war in Ukraine and the war in the Middle East as well between Israel and Hamas. We'll be taking a look at that when we come back.